National Sea Rescue Institute has urged beachgoers to be cautious this weekend as the full moon spring tide brings stronger tidal variations. Water levels are expected to rise significantly, reaching further up the shoreline, which could be dangerous for rock and surf anglers and those walking on coastal paths. Meanwhile, on the KwaZulu-Natal coast of Pennington, the second body of a group of 5 swimmers swept out to sea has been recovered by police, NSRI teams and lifeguards, while another person from the group was rescued. Well, staying with that, swimming-related incidents continue to be reported along South Africa's coastline during the festive season, with rescue teams responding to cases of missing swimmers and other emergencies. The National Sea Rescue Institute says many of these incidents could be prevented through greater awareness of sea conditions and adherence to basic water safety measures. Well, to discuss this further, we're now joined by Andrew Ingram, Communications Manager at the National Sea Rescue Institute. Andrew, a very good afternoon to you. Earlier on, I was saying that it is quite a tragic time that we are having this conversation. Before, in fact, we speak about the full moon spring tide, I mean, we've seen multiple drowning incidents across these different provinces on New Year's Day alone. Just give us the latest in terms of how many fatal incidents you have been dealing with as the NSRI, and also we know that there are still those 3 people missing that have been swept out at sea out of the 5.
Good afternoon, Unati. Yes, our volunteer crews have been incredibly busy right the way around the country. It's been a very, very difficult time, and unfortunately we've had a number of people who have been declared deceased after drowning around our coastline. In KZN alone, we have 7 people missing and 3 people confirmed deceased since the start of the new year. This is why we've put out a call to remind people about the spring tides, which will probably bring stronger rip currents with them. And to remind people to please swim at beaches where lifeguards are on duty and swim between the flags. It's absolutely critical for their safety.
Yeah, and I was going to get into that, Andrew, in terms of, urging beachgoers to be cautious this weekend as that full moon spring tide brings those stronger tidal variations. I want you to unpack that for us a little bit. I mean, what exactly is a spring tide and how does it then change normal ocean or sea behavior?
Unati, the spring tide, there's 2 spring tides every month. And it happens at the new moon and the full moon. And the pull on the ocean means that the low tide will be lower and the high tide will be higher. And that greater variation in water level will often bring with it stronger rip currents. And that is really the great danger that people face on the beach. Certainly, most people find it very difficult to see rip currents. And that's why we say, please choose a beach where lifeguards on duty and swim between the flags, because the lifeguards understand rip currents, they understand their beach, and they can keep you safe.
Yeah, and just on, the dangers of these rip currents, why are they so dangerous? Especially when you look at even, to stronger swimmers, they battle with, swimming against these tides.
No, actually, rip currents are incredibly powerful streams of water. It's probably the best idea is to think of them as a river of water that flows away from the beach. And even a very, very strong swimmer is not able to swim against it. If you're caught in a rip current, the only way to get out of it is to swim at 90 degrees to it. If you think of it as a river of water, if you fall into a river, you don't try and swim upstream to get out. You try and swim to the banks, to the left or to the right, at 90 degrees to the way you're pulling. And that's exactly what a rip current is. If you can swim to the side to get out of it, that's really good. If you are unable to do that, flip onto your back, float, put your arm up in the air and wave for help. I think the other thing that's very important to say is that for people who see someone in difficulty in a rip current, the best thing that you can do to help them is to call for help. 112 is the free call from your mobile phone and gets through to all of the emergency services. And if you are a very strong swimmer and you decide to go into the water to try and help somebody, it's a really dangerous thing to do. But if you do decide to do that, then you must take flotation with you. The NSRI's pink buoys around the country, or bodyboards, anything that floats to help yourself and to help the person who you're going to try and rescue. Without doing that, you put your own life and that other person's life at grave risk.
And are there particular times of the day over the next few days that will be especially dangerous, just around, planning for the public, especially as they go to the various beaches?
Natia, it's always best to check the local tide times for the place that you're going to. Very often we find most of our drowning incidents are in the afternoon and the later afternoon. But when you're going to the beach, please check the tide timetables, especially for those walking coastal trails and for those going fishing or angling from the rocks. You really need to know when high tide is, and that's particularly important now with the full moon spring tides, as some rocks that would generally be out of the water with the higher high tide will now be underwater. So it's really important to do your weather checks, check your weather apps, know when the high tide and the low tide is. And I think really importantly, to not drink alcohol when you're going down to the water. Alcohol can put your life at significant risk and the lives of the people who will come to try and help you if you get into difficulty. I think that the biggest cause of death around our coastline are rip currents and people drinking alcohol before going into the water.
Absolutely. Andrew, let's leave it there for now. Thank you so much for that update. Andrew Ingram is a communications manager at the National Sea Rescue Institute.